G'day, Tez here. Got a day off in my little stint away from home. Too far to go home, a relaxing day, but I've got a little bit of maintenance to do, and something's raised its little head there yesterday. So that's your park brake there for your trucks. Talk a bit more on that. But there's a little bit more hissing noise than what there should be. Now it's coming from somewhere in there, and I reckon it's pretty sure it's the back of this valve, and I've had a little bit of play, that's why it's loose. This is down, open. But typical trucking situation, it's just awkward. So basically I've got to pull that out, check everything, put it back together and put it back in and see if it works, which pretty annoying because it's not that simple. Oh, just time consuming. See how we go. Now, some of you are probably asking why I'm fixing it on my day off. Well, didn't have time yesterday. I had a little bit of a look and I knocked off too late, and I knew today was my day off, so if I knew I could get through today, yesterday, I can have a look at it today. And unfortunately Sunday and I'm middle of nowhere, nothing's going to be open anyway, and nothing's open on a Saturday really in the afternoon, and it's not like I can run down to the local shop and get parts, because middle of the bush there is no shop really for truck parts. As it's losing air, it could be taking air away from my essential items, i.e. brakes. It won't stop me from using my brakes, but it will probably stop me from releasing the brakes. And if they are half on, half off, it tends to heat the brakes up, then I lose my efficiency in my brakes, which could cause an accident, or get to a extent where she heats up and catches on fire, which could make a very bad day. So that's why I'm trying to get on top of it now. Yesterday I was watching the gauges like a hawk. They was sitting normal, and I went around and checked my brakes quite often to make sure they weren't heating up. So as I was pushing through with the problem, I also monitored it fairly well. So, and it wasn't getting any worse, so I kept on going until the day was finished. Anyway, let's get into it and see what we can do. I'm going to fast forward a lot of this because it's just me pulling things apart and it's pretty slow and boring. So what I'm going to do is try to talk you through it, what I was thinking, why I'm pulling things apart, and what I'm looking for at the same time. Now I had a bit of an idea how to pull this apart, because about 2 weeks beforehand I had to put a new valve back in. So that's that switch what you pull in and out to engage your brakes. Because she's an old truck, all the hoses back there are getting fairly old and brittle, not as flexible as they used to be, so they don't go back together as good as they used to. Ever want a universal tool? Buy yourself one of these. I've had this for about nearly 20 years, I think. I'm not too sure. Anyway, it's one my brother bought me for my birthday. So it could have been not quite 20 years, but somewhere up close, getting close to it. And yeah, I use it every day. I have broken one knife, which was a hacksaw, but you know, fair bit of it gets used quite often, especially the screwdrivers, the Phillips head on that side. You got a couple of flats and a pair of scissors, all get used. Yeah, I've gone through 3 or 4 pouches, but by hell I've used that a fair bit. It's just when quite often I can't be bothered to go and get the correct spender or something like that. Now this is probably the most frustrating part because there's only so much I can pull a truck apart with the tools I got, and trying to find the air leak. So basically I've got limited amount of room, just enough to be very frustrating trying to get to have a look and feel around. So basically I'll pull the air on, see where the air leak is, and you see me grab the actual window cleaner, which is the closest thing I had to soapy water. Just try to find out where I can find some bubbles a lot easier, and work out what the problem is from there on. Okay. I think it's leaking out of there, so once again, take that off. While I'm trying to get that second hose off, I realised it's got back pressure of air, so I had to dump all the air out of the truck so I can undo that hose. Okay. It should come out easy now. There we go. Ah, God. There's that one. Ah, there's that one. There's that socket I had. I was hoping this was just loose, but it wasn't. Now you can see I've pulled out the whole switch assembly there. Now the bit I am currently looking at is the white plasticky stuff with the terminals on it. It's a little sensor gauge to tell me if I've got my handbrake on and off. So if there's pressure on it in the airline on that part, it means I've got my handbrake off. And puts a little red light on my dash to say I've got the handbrake on. I think whatever's blown out is blown out past that stuff there, so we'll go and have a look. Now a little bit further on, my GoPro must have started to play up a little bit and I didn't realise it at the time. But from here on, I'll take the sensor off, I'll clean up the thread, and then I'll use this Loctite glue thread tape kind of thing. Unfortunately you don't get to see it. It's made by Loctite and you're meant to use it on threads where you're using air basically, so it's like thread tape but in a liquid base. You're meant to leave it for 24 hours before you use it, but we never do. We just put it on and use it straight away with that setting, and it seems to work quite good. I'm quite impressed how well it works on airlines. A little bit later on you will get to see where I use a little bit of excess stuff actually fix the problem. It does look like a bit of a white paste. Now, taking a second look at this, see, it might be coming from under there somewhere, so we'll do something I don't like doing. Well, I like doing, but I don't like doing in the field, just in case it falls apart and I can't get it back together. By this stage, I've already put it back in the truck, tested it, realised it's still leaking air, hence why I've pulled it out again and pulling the sensor apart now, because it's the last thing I can work out is leaking. Oh, it has too. See that? A little gasket. And I can't use paper, cardboard, because it's going to blow it out too. Now you can see I'm using a bit of thread tape glue here, just to try to patch up that hole, fill in that hole a bit, because the air was getting past the gasket and going down the thread of the where the bolt goes through. So just put a little bit in there and see what happens. That will or won't work. Bloody hell, sometimes the most dodgiest things actually work. Listen to this. See that? No extra hissing. Bloody hell. So, yep, that's a sketchy thing for the wick. Hopefully. I can't believe that actually worked. I'm very surprised. Anyway, I got a new one ordered. I rang the boss a little while ago and asked him for a new one, but yeah. Alright, everyone please be safe on the roads. Take it easy, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye.